Jen, we're going to end the week on a happy note. Short of wrapping himself around a tree on Sunday, it looks like we're going to get the first British champion on the Tour de France on Sunday. It's a very exciting moment, but it's cost the British taxpayer some money to get him there, perhaps. You've been looking at some of the numbers behind the resurgence in British cycling.
Well, it's always going to be hard to try and break these numbers down because Bradley Wiggins is paid for these days by Team Sky, and it's B-Sky-B behind that one. But his success comes from the Team GB programme. So I just looked at the money they've had in terms of UK funding from lottery and government. And Team GB cycling has had, it's about 48 million in the last 8 years for Beijing and London. But you try and divide that by, say, front page worthy events, and you get to about 550,000, I reckon, per front page event.
And so I guess the question is, do we think that money has had a direct influence in other ways? How do they justify that kind of spending as a country that has to divvy up the tax pie?
Well, if you think of it in terms of achievement, it's a great thing for the UK. People are proud. Wiggo's hardly been off the front page in the last 2 weeks, which is quite surprising for a cyclist. And also there's a health thing as well. If you look at British cycling membership, it's pretty much trebled over that time. And these are serious guys. This isn't including people who get on their bike and cycle to work. But if you look at that, assuming that health is one of their sort of goals, which we have to assume it is, then they've had a pretty big effect.
And if you look at elite sportsmen like Bradley Wiggins, how much of it is down to his genes and his individual skill, and how much of it down to these taxpayer dollars, do you think?
It's pretty hard to say which one comes first. Okay, you couldn't win the Tour with just anyone. You can't make a donkey into a racehorse. Bradley Wiggins is a racehorse. But if you didn't have the management and the structure, and the guy behind Team GB Cycling, Dave Brailsford, is really strong on the management structure. If you didn't have that, you wouldn't have it either. I mean, we could really do some business school case studies into this and look at the numbers in a bit more depth than we can today. And
do you think shareholders in Sky and News Corp are benefiting from the taxpayer money that's gone into the broader cycling pot?
Well, they've just been over most front pages in Europe for the last 2 weeks, so that's not too bad.
And do you think other sports in the UK can learn from this business model?
Definitely. From the way Team GB Cycling has set itself up and the professionalism in this, yeah, it's a real lesson for the rest of them.
Right, well, I think when he goes over the line on Sunday, no one will be begrudging the money they have to pay to get in there. Thanks very much, Jen.